Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the new Spring Break Slush Slasher. That's right, this board got overhauled for this year. This board features Spring Break's Surf Camber profile, which is rocker in the nose and the tail and camber through the middle. Basically, it's directional cam rocker, so you have a little bit longer rocker in the nose, camber through the inserts, and a smaller rocker in the tail. This is going to give you a load, pop, snap, and drive from that camber right underfoot, but you're going to have more optimal powder float from that rocker in the nose and tail, as well as ease of entry in and out of turns. This board is available in 139, 143, 147, and 151. I rode this board at Arapahoe Basin on a sunny bluebird day with warmer temps with moderate to high sustained winds. You had ice, chop, slush, choppy slush, chundery slush, a little bit of hero snow on the groomers, kind of just a mix of all spring-like conditions, perfect for party boarding with this deck. And I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. Alright, so two of the big changes with this board is that it actually got narrower and then they added camber right underfoot. This totally changes the dynamics of how this board flexes. So by losing that width, you get a board that's easier to torsionally twist, which is going to give it more play. Now you do have a directional flex in this, and so you have the softer nose that's accentuated by that rocker, stiffer section through the middle where that camber is. Then you got the tail that's a little softer than the midsection, but it's still slightly stiffer than the nose. And like I said, with that narrower waist, you get a ton of torsional flex in this board. Overall, it's below a middle of the road, and it's really playful and really lively. And that translates to the stability of this board. Basically, when you're charging on a groomer, you get a ton of flap in the nose that resonates back underfoot. You're gonna feel it under your front foot. Now, that camber section is a little bit more stable, but due to it being narrower, you do get bucked around in rutted terrain a little bit more, so be aware of that. And when you go charging into rutted out terrain, the nose basically just slaps everything. It's just flopping around, slapping everything, and getting bucked. So one thing that's similar to the old version of this is that it still has a skate-like pop. You just have to load that camber section in the middle a little bit, but when you roll back on the tail, you can spring, and this board will pop. It's not as snappy as it could be in my opinion, but it has a decent pop to it. And basically what you notice is that you're snapping from your back foot, so like all your drive is really coming from right underfoot. So if you put a lot of power in it, you can overflex that tail, so you got to be aware of that. But if you understand how to be a little bit lighter on your feet, you shouldn't have a problem sending a side hit, launching a cat track gap, or popping off a roller. When it comes to buttering, this is truthfully where this board shines. You can get super weird with this just due to the flex pattern and the fact you got rocker in the nose and the tail. Now that nose rocker is way bigger, so when you pop a 180 and you land on it and you press, it's like a spatula through snow. And you can overpress this board if you're really aggressive. With the tail, it's easier to sit on it and it stays locked in. You don't have to worry about just doing high-speed wheelies. You can get sideways, get weird, do whatever you need to do. This board butters, that's for sure. So here's the thing with how this board carves. They made it narrower. It's got camber underfoot, and in my opinion, it's a little bit softer. So it's a little easier to get it on edge, that's for sure. It's a little quicker from edge to edge, but you can end up overpowering it through a harder carve. You notice that right away. This is one of those boards that when you're driving from the camber back through the tail, you can lay the board over to a point, but if you're overzealous, you're gonna buckle that tail and it's gonna wash out on you. When it's on edge, it does stay locked in for the most part, but you're better off doing ankle steering than really trying to drive your knee and hammer that camber zone to get it to slingshot you through a turn. You wanna be light on your feet, and realistically with that statement, it means you want to be more slashy and less precision based. Like the old version, you could be more precision based and really just roop a carve. This, you want to be more laid back, you want to slash it, you basically want to skid the apex of the carve. That's really what you want to get the most out of it, in my opinion. It's a really different ride compared to the old version, so for those of you that had the old version, you need to be aware of that. Who's this board for? The Slush Slashing Side Slipper. Yeah, say that 4 times fast, I dare you. So making this board narrower I don't think was a good thing. If you liked the old Slush Slasher and you understood how it was supposed to be ridden, you probably loved it. With this, it's more turny for sure, but it's less stable. It really drives different. It just feels like a completely different board all in all. It's more playful in the tips, it's less stable underfoot, it's more lively. I personally didn't like it. I liked the old one more. I just felt that was what it was really designed for. This just feels like they're trying to make it more like a dance hall or one of these other party boards that's freestyle focused. It almost feels like it's been halved, and it's going to be good for people that are smaller, realistically, like women and small guys, people with a smaller boot, someone that doesn't have as much weight. Like, honestly, if you rode a 47 in the past, I'd say if you want a new one, you need to bump up. This is a board you actively want to actually bump up in size. Comparable boards: the Rome Service Dog, the Solomon Dance Hall, the Rosinal Sashimi. Binding recommendations: the Union Ultra, the K2 Lean AT, the Bent Metal Joint. This has been my review of the Spring Break Slush Slasher. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.